What's up, everybody? Welcome to the THPStrength podcast. I have a 50.5-inch vertical. This right here is the man who writes all my training, and together we coach a lot of athletes to jump higher. And today we're going to be talking about what makes a perfect jumper slash dunker. What are the qualities, both physical, mental, tendon properties, muscle properties, neuromuscular stuff going on in your brain? What are all the qualities that would make someone have the highest vertical jump on the planet?
Are we doing 1 foot or 2 foot?
Whatever your heart desires. We can talk about the differences between both.
Okay. All right. So give me an archetype. You've got a 2 foot jumper, best jumper in the world.
Long legs.
Long legs.
Yeah. High hips. Long arms.
Okay. What about his torso?
Little thin torso, not one of those big back motherfuckers.
Big back.
Like the guys that have like really like why you know what I'm talking about? When
Like me?
their freaking core is massive.
Okay. So is it a long torso or a small torso?
Yeah. I would say shorter torso, long legs.
Are you just describing Sutherland?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah.
Bailey keeps bumping my camera, so she's got to
I
come.
mean, most two-footers, elite two-footers though are kind of built like that, just more muscle bound when
Okay.
compared to their 1 foot counterparts.
So if you were to adjust yourself, other than decreasing the size of your girth, what would you change?
Oh, I don't know if I would change like anthropometry wise, like
Anthropometrically.
I give myself a bigger reach.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I'd give myself a bigger reach for sure.
Okay. Would you have a shorter neck?
Uh,
Short neck, long neck. If you have a short neck, you can
shorter
say
neck,
you're
shorter neck for sure.
Yeah, so you
Shorter
can
neck
say
for sure.
you say you're shorter than you
I don't
are.
want to be like this. I have a really long neck.
You do want to be like this?
Yeah,
Why?
because the neck is nothing.
You're going to look like Quasimodo.
But you'll jump super high.
So it looks so it looks more impressive.
The neck is pointless. Well, you need a strong neck if you're gonna be doing spins and you're gonna be turning and stuff. But yeah, like it's like it would look more impressive. You'd be shorter with the same reach.
All right, what about your chest? Would you want a big chest, little chest, bird chest? This chest, that chest?
Bird chest.
Bird chest.
Bird chest.
What about your back?
Big back.
You said not a big back, like two.
I meant when I said big back, I actually said the wrong thing. I meant like the torso,
like belly, like a beer.
Not
like
even a beer belly. Like I
HGH
just mean
belly,
like there's guys like
the bodybuilder HGH belly.
no, not the belly at all. I'm talking like the torso itself. Like there's guys that have a lot of freaking torso like width.
Can you give me an example?
Nico
Nico
has a really wide torso. Austin too.
Me.
Like, a lot of it's like gymnasts. It's like kind of like the gymnast type build where it's like.
So you want to be an ectomorph?
Yeah.
You want to be like look like a praying mantis.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
With big old legs.
Big old legs?
Yeah.
So like Nathan, basically.
Shoulders, big shoulders, your back, like lats, all that stuff. I think need to be pretty built.
Are you just describing yourself again?
I said I don't think I would change anything.
All right. So if you could change, let's say
I would maybe change my tendon properties. Maybe.
What would you want? You want stiffer tendons?
Stiffer, yeah.
You want to be stiffer, huh?
Yeah.
You want to have them bricked up tendons. I think you'd probably benefit from that at this point. Maybe not early on, but at this point.
The only thing that would change would probably be stiffer tendons and then like my nervous system. Turn that up even more.
Dude, you're going to end up a little bit autistic if you do that. Like a little bit more than we already are. We're already neurodivergent, but like if I upregulate that, we're going to be bouncing off the walls. I would.
And then resiliency and all like my freaking like my spine and my tendons and all that stuff.
Dude, you're just turning into like Black Panther.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to be Black Panther.
And I want to be Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if I could. Let's see. What would I do? Well, I definitely want to have lower percent body fat. I'd want to be like 5% natural, and I can eat whatever I want. So like Obi, basically Obi Chamberlain. Yeah. Being a little bit taller would be nice. Like having like an 8'2" reach would be kind of sick. Like 6'2".
That is kind of a meta, my opinion.
Yeah, like 8'2".
Any longer than that, and
transfers get hard.
Yeah.
I think I would also definitely want higher hips for sure. I'd want higher hips.
Levers,
I would.
baby.
What's that?
Levers, baby.
Yep. For 1 foot specifically, definitely the case. I would want a lot of proximal mass and no lower. Well, for jumping, actually, that's not true. I'd still want some big old cannons for calves. Like if I could have bigger calves, I would want bigger calves. Let's see what else. No upper body mass whatsoever. Give me no mass or give me death.
Interesting.
And I would have my upper back, even my back, I would like just have no back. I'd be backless. I'd be no back John. And
lower body, that's it.
Yep. Just big old quads, hamstrings, and calves. I don't know if I'd change the origin of my tendon because like I feel like that's getting into a dangerous game when you start playing with that stuff. Bigger hips, I'd give myself some big old hips. I'm talking like I walk around and you watch my hips sway because my glutes are just freaking yoked. Yeah, exactly. As a power jumper, maybe I'd have a little bit of a back, but not like what I currently have. Like I look like I have wings. My brother is a distance runner and he looks like he has wings. It's just in our genetics to have a large latissimus dorsi. Don't know why, but our backs are just we are truly big backs.
What about mobility wise?
Oh, dude, no. I would say if there was one thing I could change, that would be it. If there was one thing I could change, I would give myself internal rotation and I would train for the Olympics.
Do you think mobility plays a role in 2-foot jumping?
Yes. For certain. Like I think that
let's break it down. Mobility at the hip, and then at the ankle. Where else? At the shoulder. I was gonna say knee, but then I was like that's just
you can't bend your knee. You're kind of screwed. You got bigger fish to fry.
Oh, that's true. Actually, if you can't get into flexion,
but like most people can.
That's what Jay Clark is struggling with. Jay Clark is struggling
he can flex into a squat though, on a jump.
Yeah, that's true. He's told me he's lost a lot of flexion though. Like he can't squat all the way down. Like doing this. Like specifically like doing this. He can't do it anymore. And then twisting, I think like the block foot, like the twisting forces, like really messes them up.
That's interesting.
I had talked to you about before. I think if Jay Clark was able to still jump off 2, that he would still be like freaky. Like I think he'd still be in that like 48 range of vertical.
You think he's just in too much pain?
Yeah. He's from what he's told me, he's in too much pain to jump off 2. But he's still like seeing the lifts he's putting up. He's still.
What did he clean the other day? Didn't he clean something crazy?
335 or something like that. I think
that's insane.
Yeah, 335 is ridiculous.
I was gonna blow my nose on the podcast, but I'm gonna suffer because I refuse. Yeah, we're gonna suffer. Yeah. So, in regards to mobility, I think that ankle you don't need that much. Like Donovan has probably some of the worst ankle mobility ever, and he's a literal spring. I think, and I've seen that a lot.
He can deep squat though.
Yeah, because of his hip mobility though. He still rounds in his low back. I saw him do it in line when we were at Universal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Oli shoes, it's better.
Wait, did you have him squat?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we were waiting in line at the King Kong ride, and I was.
And then you were just curious.
Yeah, dude, I saw his mobility in his arms and stuff like that. He lacks a lot of internal rotation in his shoulders, external rotation, and he has a really
long lifting he's doing.
Yeah, literally all the freaking canes he's eating. And his forearms are really long. Like he has really long forearms, which makes the rack position really hard. Because like his upper arm is not very long, but his lower arm, like his forearm, is really long. So when he racks,
Well,
it's
that's
like his
probably why he
hands like
doesn't do
back
elbows.
behind him. Was that
Elbow dunks? That's probably why he doesn't do them.
Yeah, they're probably really hard for him as a result. But let me see what else. His hip internal rotation, his external rotation is kind of shitty, actually, but it's not bad, but it's not as good as what I would expect. His internal rotation is really good though, especially on his block foot.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really good. His everywhere else, like his spine's pretty mobile. His shoulders are not great, but they're good enough to like throw. What did he throw? 82 miles an hour?
82, yeah. I'm curious what we would throw actually pitching. Like if that machine is like, like if it's like
I think
undershooting
I would
it,
hit 70.
overshooting
I
it.
think I would hit 70.
Yeah.
Probably. I think you'd hit in the 80 at least.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the problem is we don't know where the ball is going to go.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it could freaking sail. We have
Mhm.
really long arms though, so like that helps in throwing.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of the lifts that pitchers would benefit from doing as well, like Dean Jackson. I mean, we don't bench, so that would probably help us more.
And dunking, like doing a windmill.
Yeah, dude, even
Is
just a
like,
one-hander is kind of similar. Our
yeah,
rotator cuff would be like the bigger issue. And then the rotational forces in my hips, I'm not going to be able to get much of because I don't have any internal rotation. But I
yeah,
think you and Donovan would throw pretty freaking hard.
yeah.
You guys have potential to throw really hard. At least it seems like it. I don't know. It'd be a fun side quest. You might tear your rotator cuff and your labrum,
That
but
it always my shoulder, bro, always gets lit
that's
up. And it like,
everyone. That's everyone though that tries to throw hard.
yeah.
No, at least it's not your elbow. Tommy John is a much worse. No, they're both pretty shitty. Anyways, so hips, internal rotation, really, really important. I would definitely want a guy with that and a lot of flexion and extension. Like mobile hips, I mean, you'll get hip pain, but it's so beneficial for trick dunks specifically. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, most things athletic is just going to help. It's going to make your training better. It just makes everything easier. So that for sure. Yeah, ankles I don't really think is that important. When I was coaching at Altus, one of my roommates at the time, her name was Tay Clark. She was like a triple jumper. She had some of the tightest ankles I've ever seen in my entire life. Most of the athletes at Altus, I can't think of one athlete that could squat deeper than a half squat.
Yeah.
And these are all world-class track and field guys. They were terrible at it, from multis to long jumpers to hurdles. I mean, granted, they didn't have them do it very often, but it would be noticeably uncomfortable for most of them.
Bro,
It could be
speaking
their
of
femur length too, but
speaking of which, doing 425 on the half squat yesterday, I was like, this shit right here. Like, there's nothing like putting up heavy ass weight on my back and squatting. Like, I was literally like, I can feel myself jumping higher from doing this.
what? Why? Just because it's like feels specific?
It's so yeah, it feels so specific and the intensity is so high. And then I've been front squatting for a while and it made me realize how much of a limiter the arms are. Like your upper body is
And
on
on front
front
squat?
squat. Yeah, on front squat. Cause I was just like, bro, this is crazy. And it felt
Did
like
it
I was
feel easy?
gonna die every rep.
Did it feel easy?
No, I did not.
You've done like 500 though.
Yeah, but the thing is I worked off of 500.
Oh shit! So it sets of 5,
I was doing sets of
4.
I did
Let's say
sets of
4.
4 at 85%, and it was 3 sets of 4 at 85%, working off of 500.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Did you
I
film this
was
lift?
huh?
Did you film the lift or no?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, nice. I filmed mine too, but I haven't edited it just yet.
yeah, but yeah, nothing like it. Which speaking of which, let's get into
Perfect jumper. Yeah, we didn't even talk
the
about that.
muscles. Let's get into muscle qualities and your nervous system,
I
and then
want as many. Actually, you need to have consistency first. That's the first thing. All right, that's the first thing I want. And you listen to whatever I say. So if I say do something, you do it.
extreme buy-in.
Yeah, you have extreme buy-in, and yeah, perfect. Okay, and then we said body fat. I would want some big old quads on the 2-foot jumper. Like the more the quad hangs over their kneecap, the better. which, by the way, I put on my story yesterday, and Isaiah said I was objectifying him, which I was. Stand by that. And Donovan, and they were just like, "What are you doing?" And then like later in the day, I was filming them, and Isaiah's wife was just like said something really funny. I don't know if it's inappropriate or it's appropriate for the podcast, but it was hilarious. So yeah, the more quad overhang, the better. And
at least it wasn't our butts. Like
that would have been.
You're like, look at this.
No, but both of you guys do have a freaking donk. When you guys walk around, it's like noticeable. Like it looks kind of ridiculous. Like it looks ridiculous. I don't know if it's the Jordans and the socks that you guys wear, or like I don't know if it's the t-shirts you guys pick that are just like the perfect length where it just like
it just sticks out.
Yeah, it's just like it's not even like not even a pause moment. It's just you can't miss it. You know, if you've ever seen these guys in person, you're just like, what the hell? Like their hips are just they look inhuman.
Jumping, bro. Jumping is the best ass workout. 2-foot jumping.
2-foot jumping specifically
is the best ass workout. Like after any session where I haven't dunked for a while, and then I just go out and dunk, or I dunk for a long time, like my butt cheek is so sore.
See, I only get that on like incredible 1-foot sessions. I'm talking like best ever. That's when my hip will get sore, but that's about it. I will say there are visible videos where you can see a ripple from my lat all the way down into my glute. You can see like the connection from the back. So my hip is definitely, I think the hips are super important,
bro.
For
it's
anything athletic. What's that?
It's your foot.
I'm speechless. Was that a Goda? Was that Goda slander?
That was, bro. There's so many foot people I don't even know.
No, I was just kidding. We love you, Goda. Anyways, yeah, I don't think the foot. Well, no, the foot has nothing to do with anything. I mean, like you could hypothetically be like, high arches store more energy, blah 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 blah. But I've seen a lot of really fast, explosive athletes with no arches and flat feet. So like, throw a carbon fiber plate in there, and it kind of does the job for you a little bit more effectively. Honestly, I do think the Achilles. What's that?
Victory insoles.
Victory insoles. If you would like to sponsor us, I guess we'll do it, but you're gonna have to pay us a lot of money, and we're gonna be honest. We're not gonna bias the test. We'll just do the test and tell you what the results are. I think Achilles, I would go for 2-foot. It doesn't really seem to matter. It's just like you have to have a good combination for your musculotendinous unit. Like you have so much time to produce force. So as long as you can produce force for like 250 milliseconds, which almost anyone can do, then you're good. So I don't really care that much about that.
But we're talking about the perfect jumper.
I don't know if it's definitive enough. Like, I guess the block foot would be super like elastic. You'd have. It depends on how you.
Donovan doesn't have big Achilles, right?
No, he has big calves, but he doesn't have a high Achilles. No, he has a low Achilles, like me.
So what if, or like Barth?
Actually, for example, Donovan's calves aren't as big as I would like. I would like his calves to be bigger.
Oh, Donovan, you got some stuff coming your way.
No, he's already working on it. Don't worry. I've already addressed it in the program.
But take someone like Connor or Donovan, and everything else is the same. You give him a longer Achilles. What happens?
I mean, there's so many other things that, like, a longer Achilles doesn't necessarily mean anything because it's also what is the Achilles made of and what is the muscle doing. So like, and then you're getting into like a nonlinear multivariate regression model that I don't fully.
John, you're smarter than this.
I could do it off the top of my head. Like if I had to guess, I would assume that if you have a really, really strong calf and you have a very long tendon that's very stiff, that you're going to risk destroying the calf muscle. But if your calf was strong enough, yes, the problem that I've seen is when guys have that build, they actually can't store energy very well unless there's a fast enough approach or like collision with the ground. And even then the return is really fast. Like they get a lot of energy back really quickly, but they don't necessarily produce a lot of peak force. Does that make sense? Like I watched this athlete, his name is Joe, and he was doing stiffness hops. He had some of the stiffest ankles, stiffest Achilles I've ever seen in my entire life. Like he could not do stiffness hops. He couldn't do them. Like it was like impossible for him to bounce off the ground very high. And he was a super strong, super powerful athlete. This dude was running like 10.5, 10.4 in the 100, but could not do reactive jumps to save his life. And you would think that would be like the thing he's the best at. But I think what happened is that his Achilles was so stiff that he wasn't able to produce enough force on that first jump to benefit from the drop. Like the drop would only be like, say, 24 inches. And that's not enough energy for him. But the time at which he was able to get off the ground was relatively quick. He just didn't jump very high. It almost looked like he was trying as hard as he can, but like he just could not get very high off the ground on it. But it looked quick. It looked quick, but really low. And it literally looked like your leg is too stiff. You literally need to drive your foot into the ground harder and get a quicker like recovery off the ground, like really short ground contact times, but you're not going to get a very high impulse no matter what you do, unless you're dropping off like a 50-inch box, maybe. And at that point, you're probably going to like tear your calf. So you're not going to do that. That's what it looked like. So I don't want to say that I'd want that on my jumpers because I don't know if it would necessarily be good. Whereas like good jumpers benefit from more time from what I've seen, specifically 2-foot jumpers. They're usually really good at high depth jumps like you. Donovan would be pretty good at them. They're very powerful. So like they pick longer strategies. Even when they do a depth jump, no matter what it is, they can do a shorter one, but generally they're going to pick like the in-between. You know what I mean? They're not going to be incredibly stiff like a high jumper. Like high jumpers don't flex at all. They're almost all ankle, very minimal knee bend, just like bounce off the ground. When I look at 2-foot jumpers, they almost never pick that strategy. They always pick a longer ground contact time. They pick like a deeper flexion to the knee, deeper flexion at the ankle, deeper flexion at the hip. It turns more into like a full ass jump. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to off vert. Like high jumpers are really bad off vert. They can't load their tendons enough. Whereas like you, Donovan, Connor, Jay Clark, like you guys squat. Not that you squat a lot, like down on it, but it's more than what I would see a high jumper do. And you get a lot more lift too. Like you guys take more time to stretch the tendon and you stretch it a lot. And that makes me think you'd want really strong calves and like a mediocrely stiff tendon, but not to the point where it's like, I don't know, so like Stephen Holmes or something like that. And then in terms of the length, it's probably related. So like the longer the tendon and the stiffer the tendon, the more elastic tissue you have, the harder it's going to be to stretch it because your muscles, like, I would assume that it's going to have a very hard time contracting that, concentrically on its own. So I think 2-foot jumping is a lot more concentric in general. And even though there are eccentric forces, specifically on the plant leg, I just wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think that that would necessarily be perfect. Bro. And I can't really think of anyone with a really. I mean, there are guys with high. Like, doesn't Doug Anderson have a super high calf?
Yeah.
So I think it's possible, but you need to have a tendon property that fits it. Your tendon can't be too stiff.
Yeah. Bro, more and more, I'm realizing like how much a lot of it just comes out to like becoming an output monster. Like,
yeah,
watching Donovan jump off one, like I was like, shit. And then seeing Austin jump well off both. When I'm jumping my highest, I feel good off both. Like a lot of the 2-foot guys, like the pro dunkers, like Kilgannon, when he's jumping high off 2, he's also jumping high off 1. Like it makes me think that output is like one of the most important thing.
I've always thought that.
Because like obviously technique and all that stuff, and like
no, I do think that matters. Like I will say, there's times whenever I've been on paper, I've been more output oriented than Donovan or you, or like early on when you guys had low 40-inch verticals. Like my numbers are still better. All-time numbers are still better than Donovan's, especially relative to my body weight. But even I think my clean in terms of absolutes is still better. His squat is better than mine all time. But yeah, I think that is the great equalizer. Like people in Nathan's comments, we talked about it yesterday, they were talking about how like, and you don't need to train 20 hours a week to get better. And I was like, you do if you have shitty genetics, because you need to become an output monster. And you're not going to do that on just jumping alone. Like the there has to be something that pushes adaptation. And that's typically going to happen in the weight room. The weight room is a really easy way, effective way to overload things. It's very objective. Like your body can only move so fast at a given thing, right? So if it's jumping, you're limited by that. What's that?
I think the most I've ever trained in a week. I've never been in the gym longer than 2 hours, I don't think.
Yes, you have with me. Oh, yeah. No, you have. North Carolina, dude. We were training 2.5 hours a day, easily.
Yeah, but 2.5 is still push. That's like if I'm sprinting and stuff like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying with sprinting and everything.
So let's say it's 2.5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's 7.5 hours. Let's say the dunk session is also 2.5. That's 10 hours. And then the general day is like an hour. So I think the most I've trained in a week is like 12. If I'm doing shit on Sundays, maybe.
In high school, I would be at the track for like the longest days. I would finish school at 2:30. I wouldn't get home until 5, and then I would lift until 7. So what is that? I don't even know.
You would wait from 5 to 7?
I'd be in the weight room from 5 to 7.
And then the track for how long?
I would probably get down there at like 2:45 to 3, and I wouldn't get home until 5. And I live like 5 minutes from the track.
That's probably, yeah, like 3.5 around there.
So I was doing that 3 times a week.
That's crazy, bro. If I trained like that, I would be so lean.
I was lean. I looked like a freak.
Bro, you know my body weight, by the way, is
so I was probably like 15. Okay, so I'd say that you need to train 15 hours a week if you want to.
Yeah, I agree. I think to maximize everything, probably 15, 12. I would say 12 to 15.
Yeah, and you need to be like have like insane levels of focus and dedication too. Like that's where you can overcome the shittiness of your genetics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one case I can think of where like maybe that didn't work, but I wasn't there to coach him, so I'm not sure. And I think you know who exactly I'm thinking of. His first name is similar to mine. Yeah. And that's one of the cases where I don't know for sure, but that's one of those cases where I was like, damn, this is like brutal. Like this is one of the hardest transformations I've ever had to like develop and figure out. But yeah, outside of that, I would say patella, I'd want a really high patella with a long patella tendon. Seems like that's better. Can't say that for sure.
My patella tendon's short.
Dude, no. Yours is like pretty long.
Bro, no. When you look at other dunkers, like it's literally that.
Are other dunkers further?
Bro, I've seen people that are like their tendon's long as hell.
So I feel like for 1 foot jumpers, maybe that's better. For 2 foot, I don't know. It's probably like, I'm not sure. I don't know if the length matters as much as like what it's made of and if your muscle can tug on it. That seems to be more important. Like the length is related to how the outcome, but so is the stiffness. So it's like between those two variables, what is the outcome with your strength? Like if a longer tendon that's really stiff, what does that mean versus a shorter tendon that's really stiff? Like, and how wide is the tendon? What's the cross-sectional area? Like all those things play a role. And off the top of my head, I don't even know if definitively we have an answer on what's better or what's worse. It just seems like the more cross-sectional area you have of really effective tendon for what you're picking, the better. That's what I could say. And then do your muscles complement that? Like do your muscles tug on that tendon to lengthen it to make you able to be a frog or a cheetah or whatever else activity you're trying to do. And then your nervous system. Yeah, I want to see it wired as all hell, dude. Like Donovan. Donovan has probably the most wired nervous system I've ever seen. Yeah. Like it's insane. It's actually insane. Yeah. He is just like, you can tell he's just ready to just ready to go crazy.
Bro, what's crazy?
Like any activity.
Yeah, because he's always like, he's very excitable. Like when you talk like his personality and stuff. What's crazy is I was watching the session with TT and she was like, she's like, we were watching the session. She's like, I've never seen him that calm. Like, I think like,
really?
Yeah. Like when I think he's always excitable, but as soon as you put him into that environment, that's like, where it like becomes normal. Like you like,
Donovan is only feeling himself when he's dunking hard, running fast or lifting heavy. That's funny. No, I mean, I don't know. I think there is something to his nervous system where he's just like, that has a level of just readiness all the time. Like Donovan's pretty much always ready. Like his warm-up could be like 5 minutes and he's just ready to go. And I'm like, dude, I maybe could do that when I was like 17 and I was more excitable.
Wouldn't even need a warm-up, bro.
He just walks in and under bows. I could see
I legit think you could do that.
Dude, we're glazing him too much. Donovan, if you're watching this, I'm done glazing. All right, I feel like it's a good place to stop. Yeah. Now, tell me the last question. If you had a perfect athlete come to our training, what would they look like? They're 15 years old. Like who's the perfect, what would you call it? Like candidate for THP?
Bro, it's literally grew up playing sports. And then you love jumping. Like I think you have to like it's like the number one thing that you like.
You're decently skinny, but if you played sports, you probably are.
Yeah. It's someone that it's like there's naturally athletic, but you have to they have to have that like what we were talking about yesterday, where you have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like there has to be something where you like suffering. Like there has to be like something,
or like you have something to prove. You have to have something to prove.
Yeah.
That's what I really think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Well, that being said,
because during this conversation, what I'm realizing is like there's a bunch of different, like you could be built way different, and as long as you are able to train, like you can become a really high 2-foot jumper.
That was always my goal. My goal was to make superhumans. I was like, how do I make superhumans? Specifically for dunking, it's like pretty easy. The decathlon's a lot harder, but yeah, I agree. Speaking of which, shout out Joe Delgado. His vertical went up like 3 inches. He went from 10.8 to 10.11. And this is only the second month. So I'm pretty hyped. Testing week next week for him. That being said, I think this is a good place to stop. If you guys are interested in getting coaching, go to THPStrength.com and sign up for coaching. You get access to myself. You get access to Isaiah. You're in a chat. We have 2 other coaches to help us with that, Austin and Philip. We did bring back calls, which if you check the schedule, you'll be able to see when those are and how we're going to go about them. Truth be told, they were just overwhelming. I was on calls for like 5 hours on a Thursday night until like midnight. And I was like, this is like ridiculous. I should not be doing this. So we brought them back, but we had to tweak them a little bit and figure out how we wanted to do it to make it sustainable. And obviously the training. So you're going to get an individualized, specialized, specific, individualized training. The goal is to make you as freaky as possible. My goal is to make you Superman. I want to take little like Captain America before he was injected the juice to then what he is now. Like that's what the goal of THP is. Clean, obviously. But that being said, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And yeah, see you then.